everyone, welcome to Inspired Moments with Jumoke. My name is Jumoke Olagoju, and in today's episode of Inspired Moment with Jumoke, we'll be completing the class we started last week on how to make this circle top. If you are yet to watch our last week video or the tutorial how to cut and draft the pattern for this top, okay, you can check on our YouTube channel and Facebook group, the Inspired Design School of Fashion, or on our page, the Inspired Design Clothing. And if you are yet to start following us, please do so that you don't miss any of this class, and remember to turn on the notification buttons for our post. Alright, today we'll just go ahead and complete what we started. We have already cut the fabric, we'll just be joining. This is especially important for the beginners in the midst. And before we'll start joining, let me remind you that at the Inspired Design School of Fashion, we're already taking we're taking students now for the online school. It's an online school, please. So if you're interested in joining, maybe you're unable to attend a regular fashion school because of your work, or because you have to take care of children, or because you need a flexible kind of school, so this school is for you. It's going to be a complete one. We'll take you from the beginning, drafting the basic bodies, all the way to everything you need to know about making female clothes, and it will also include children wear also. So if you want to register, just contact us on the number on the screen or on any of our social media pages. All right, so without wasting time, let's finish this beautiful top and let's get to work. Now, to stitch, the first thing, let's take care of all the small pieces first. First, let's stitch the belt. So you're going to go to your sewing machine and stitch all around here, but first let's create a style for our belt so that it's not just the edge is not just straight. So I'm going to fold it and put it together, and then I'm going to draw a slanted line. So from, let's say I'm going to go down at the side by 3 inches. I'm just going to slant it towards the edge here. Just to give it a pointed edge. This is optional, you can decide to skip it. So you go to your sewing machine and stitch all the way down, leaving this point open. So from here you will turn it to the other side. So you do that for both. We'll put it on one side, then we'll work with the center piece. For the front piece, the first thing we'll do is to fix our zipper. Okay, if you know that you're a beginner and fixing zip will be a challenge for you, you can skip this part and make your top without zipper, so that when you are cutting it, you know, I said it last week, when you are cutting, that means you're not going to put any seam in this center. You're just going to cut it the same way you cut the back. So I'm using a zipper that is removable so that I can open up my top. Let me just do a quick illustration to show you. I won't stay too much on it because, like I said, if you can't undo the zipper, just go ahead and do without. So from the 3 inches mark that I marked, remember last week I said we're going to come down by 3 inch. So I'm going to place my zipper. This is the right side of the zipper where the tab is, like this, right side on top of the right side of the fabric also. Then I'm going to stitch. Remember, my allowance is 3/4 of an inch. If I'm to go to the sewing machine to stitch, you may not see it clearly, so that's why I'm just showing you here. So even if I show it on the machine, you understand what you are seeing. Okay, then the other side, you turn it right side also, Remember, we're starting from our 3 inches, and the 3 inches you should start from where the stopper is in your zipper, so that it's not too low, except you want your own to be too low. Sorry, this is the center front. If you want it low, you want cleavage to show, you can go ahead and take it down. So this way. For the experienced tailors and designers, don't get angry that why is she showing that part. Everybody should know how to do that, but really not everybody does. Some people are just starting to learn, so let's not be in too much of a hurry. Okay, so in fact, if you are experienced, after cutting it out last week, you should have done the stitching by now. Okay, so you're just going to stitch. I'm not sure I did this very well. Just have to be careful, see that everything is equal. And because this fabric is stretching, you have to be very careful that you're not stretching your fabric. Okay, so this is going to be where the zipper is. Once you have fixed the zipper this way, we're going to take the back piece and stitch it to the front at the shoulder seam. Remember, our seam allowance was half an inch. You're going to stitch it. Okay, so it's going to look like this when it's done. Then we'll go to our lining piece or the facing. This is for the front, then this is for the back. Remember, so for the back we'll also stitch it at the shoulder seam. It's neater if you follow this process rather than, you know, facing it and then joining it. So just follow the process I'm taking, please. It may seem long and unnecessary, but it's neater and easier to you get better results. So this is going to look like this. Once you have joined the shoulder seam of both the front the main piece and the lining piece, we're going to place it on top of each other this way. You match it up at the shoulder seam. Okay. This class is for everybody. That's why I'm taking all these tips. Ordinarily, I should just tell you, stitch it together and that is all. But I want those who have no experience whatsoever in sewing, I want them to be able to make this. Because not everybody in our community, as in on our Facebook page or the YouTube channel, knows how to do all this. They are just beginners. Okay, so we're going to match it up. Match the front piece here. Okay, match it up. Then we're going to match it up at the zipper area too, here in the center front. So at the hem here, you match it, match everything up. Make sure you are not stretching your fabric. The lining piece is not stretching, but the main fabric is stretching. So it's a good thing that the lining piece is not stretching. You use it to control the stretch in the main piece. Okay, so once you have matched it all up, we're going to go to the sewing machine and first of all stitch the neckline. You stitch around the neckline. After stitching the neckline, you notch all around. You make sure you don't cut into your thread. Then you turn your lining piece to the other side and then top stitch. That means you stitch on top of your lining to hold it down. You're not stitching this. You fold the joining here, after stitching, there's a joining here. You fold it towards the lining this way. You fold it towards the lining and then stitch on top. That will hold that place down so that your neckline turn perfectly. Okay, so then after doing that, you can now go ahead and stitch the zipper area. You stitch as close to the zipper as you want. You may want to use your zipper foot for fixing the zipper and stitching this part. And once that is done, stitch the hem. Remember, we left ½ inch, so you go in by, you stitch it by ½ inch. You do the same thing for this other side. Once all that is done, we can now go ahead. So everything I've explained, let me go to the sewing machine and stitch. Then I'll come and show you how to connect to the other two pieces. Okay, so after joining everything together, you have something like this. Okay, this is the inside. You can see that the zipper is not exposed. So by the time I join this to the other two pieces, we'll just use we'll do a zigzag stitch or overlocking. We'll overlock all these rough edges and also this part of the back. So let's join the side piece. But before we join the side piece, we have to add our belt to the front. So I want the belt to be at the waistline. My waistline is like 15 inches. You're going to measure from the shoulder to the waistline. Take your belt, place it this way, and stitch. You stitch it together with the lining piece and make sure that it matches. Okay, especially if you're using a stretch fabric, you have to be careful because sometimes it folds towards the inside. See, this is how you are placing it, because the belt will be inside, and you place the second one also like this and stitch. Once that is done, we're going to place our material like this. Remember, we've notched the shoulder line here. We're going to match it to the shoulder line of the this center piece. We'll open it up. So right side, this is the right side of the fabric against the right side of the inner piece. Join it at the shoulder seam here. We're going to match it. Then pin all the way down here to the base here. So that's how you're going to stitch. Then at the front, make sure that your belt is inwards, that you're not stitching it outside the fabric, okay, so that you don't have to do it all over again. And make sure that when you are stitching, you are holding this part of the back facing to the fabric. Now we'll do the final stage. All the stitching have been done, so all you need to do is to align it and stitch this straight line, and then you overlock it to give it a clean finish. Also for the hem, I have serged it. If you don't have a serger, or you can just turn it, but make sure that the turning is very, after overlocking it, you just turn it very very small hemming. Okay, so now the final stage, we're just going to lay our top down. Okay, you have to align it perfectly. This top can actually fit all sides. This last stage is what will determine which size it will fit. Although for each size, for someone else, maybe somebody on the plus side, they may need to make it a little bit longer than this, because this one is for a small size. Okay, all right, so after laying it out flat now, we need our bust measurements, waist measurements, and the hip measurements. We're going to insert it here. Okay, so you find from the shoulder hem here, we're going to go down by 9 inches. You can use 10 inches if you're making for a plus size. This is going to be the opening where the hem will come through. So one thing you need to take into consideration is that you don't want it to be open such that when you lift up your hand, your bust is showing or something like that. And then you don't want it to be too tight that you can't freely move your hand or that it becomes uncomfortable. So for me, I believe 9.5 will be okay. So from the hem, shoulder hem like this, you'll go down by the required length. I'm using 9 inches. So you mark. I'll do the same thing for the other side. 9 inches. Okay. Now on that point, I'm going to insert at that point I will insert my bust measurements. So the bust is 34 divided by 2, that is 17. So between this point now, I'm going to, this is a center front, so there will be 17 divided by 2, that is 8.5, I believe. Yes, 8.5. So there will be 8.5 to the right, 8.5 to the left. Okay, so from this is going to serve as my center front. And if you did not put zipper, just mark where the center front is so that it is balanced. Okay, so I'm just going to place 8.5 here at the center front, then mark here, then at the other hand I'll mark 17 inches. So make sure, use a chalk so that you can wash it off or dust it off. Then at the waistline, I'm going to insert my waist measurement. The waist measurement is 28 inches divided by 4, that is 7 inches. So 7 inches to the right, to the left, and 7 inches to the right. So like we did the other time, I'm going to take my 7 inches mark here, place it at the center front, then mark 14 inches here. I've marked the waist measurement. Then at the hip here, I'm going to come down and mark my hip measurements. Hip 38 divided by 4, that is 19, that is divided by 2, that is 19, 9.5, I believe. So 9.5, I'm going to place it at the center front, mark here, then mark the 19 inches here. So now I'll go to the sewing machine. Please take note that I'm taking my markings on the right side of the fabric because your stitching will be on the right side of the fabric. So I'll go to the sewing machine now and stitch this way all the way down, this way all the way down, and this will give the top a shape. This part will be like the dress, and this will be like the sleeve of the top. So you have to do this part, otherwise this will just be flying open and it will just look like an ordinary cape. Of course, if you want it to make it a cape, maybe you're putting this on top of maybe you want to be wearing a camisole underneath it, so that it doesn't really matter if it flies open, you can leave it open, but that will be a cape. But we're making it into a top, so we'll just stitch this way and then our top is ready. So now you can go one step further and stone your top. You can add beads, you can add any kind of trimmings you want to beautify the top. Just do whatever you want, add whatever you want to add to it, but basically your top is ready. So that's it. Thank you for joining this class. It's been a long one. We spent 2 weeks on this top. It's not as if it's something that is difficult to make. You can make it in under an hour if you're a beginner. and then but I've just decided to make it very detailed for the sake of the beginners in the midst. All right, this is the end of this class this week. Hope to see you in class next week. And if you are yet to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, please do so and click the notification button so that you get informed immediately I upload new videos. The link is the Inspired Design School of Fashion. We also have a Facebook group, the Inspired Design School of Fashion. Make sure you are a member so that you get all details, and you can also ask your question about the video on that group. Also, you can like and follow our page, the Inspired Design Clothing. Finally, if you'd like to join our online class, online fashion school, we have an online fashion school where we teach everything you need to know about dressmaking for the female and children actually. So if you're interested in joining, please just contact us on any of the maybe on the page or the group, or you can send a WhatsApp message to the number on your screen. All right, thank you. See you next week when we have another wonderful episode.